Hey, Victor David Henson. Yes, we do accept. We accept your apology. Sincerely, yes, we do accept your apology. Thank you for sharing the right information.
I want to apologize to you. I have been writing columns and have suggested to you in these videos that the Democrats didn't have an agenda. In other words, they were just nihilists. But I went back and looked at everything they've said, everything they've written, what their surrogates and the media have done, and I discovered they do have a counter agenda. They really do. And it's organized. And I want to give it a fair hearing right now. So I wrote down 10 things that I think are thematic of the Democratic agenda.
Woohoo! Okay, let's go.
Hello, this is Victor David Henson for the Daily Signal. I want to apologize to you. I have been writing columns and have suggested to you in these videos that the Democrats didn't have an agenda. In other words, they were just nihilists. But I went back and looked at everything they've said, everything they've written, what their surrogates and the media have done, and I discovered they do have a counter agenda. They really do. And it's organized. And I want to give it a fair hearing right now. So I wrote down 10 things that I think are thematic of the Democratic agenda that offers an alternative to Donald Trump. The first is that Donald Trump must be considered, as Chris Matthews just said, a Mussolini-like figure. He must be opposed in every aspect. He must be demonized. Everything he does is evil. And by extension, the same is true of Elon Musk. You must consider him an alien that should go back home to South Africa, that he's not a true American. He's only been here 23 years. You cannot talk about his Tesla revolution that pretty much saved the idea of an electric vehicle. You cannot talk about the successes of SpaceX. You cannot talk about saving social media by opening it up and getting the government out, i.e. the FBI colluding with the old Twitter. You cannot talk about giving free internet service to Ukraine. He's evil, and everything he does must be opposed. And we must continue that to the point where he is depersonalized. The second thing I've noticed very quickly is ICE is wrong. You have to stop ICE from deporting anybody, even if they're a criminal. Open borders are completely normal. We let in 12 million people under Joe Biden. We have no apologies whatsoever. No major Democrat has come forward and said we made a mistake. We've overloaded communities like the San Joaquin Valley or the Rio Grande Valley or the inner city. It's cost us perhaps $1 trillion in social costs. We apologize. No. Everything about open borders was wonderful, and we will try as Democrats as much as we can to stop ICE from deporting even criminals. Sanctuary cities are immune, 600 of them. Radical Palestinians are to be favored over Israel. We see that with the controversy over Mahmoud Khalil. We in the Democratic Party feel that Israel is a settler country. Now, this is the only issue that the majority of Democrats are clearly for. About 70%, 65% of Democrats favor the Palestinian cause. So there's no ambiguity about it now. Democrats feel that Israel is the culprit, and if there's anti-Semitism on campus, it's sporadic or it's done by people other than the pro-Hamas green card holder or student visa holder. There should be no cuts. No cuts in the federal government. We have a $1.7 trillion deficit. Joe Biden probably racked up $7 to $8 trillion in additional debt, but $36 trillion is no problem. We're not going to discuss it. All we know is there should be no layoffs. Everything that USAID was funding was fine, and the federal government was running perfectly until Donald Trump came. There was no abuse, fraud, anything. We have never talked about fraud and abuse in recent years, and there was a reason why. We're perfectly happy with these massive deficits. Ukraine, Donald Trump with his art of the deal antics, threatening to cutting off, restoring aid to Ukraine. It's a mess. We have to go back to the Biden approach. We'll do whatever it takes for as long as it takes. So we need to up the amount of aid, maybe $3 or $4 or $500 billion to Ukraine, and enable it to defeat Russia. And if that costs 2 or 3 million casualties, we don't care. We offered no alternative ceasefire plan, no strategic resolution, nothing other than to feed the Ukrainians, to defeat Vladimir Putin, and bleed out the Russian military forces, even if it takes the last Ukrainian to do so. DEI should have never been cut out. We still have to emphasize that we are a country of white rage, white privilege, white supremacy, and we in the Democratic Party will find ways to work around these executive orders. But maybe we will have to reclassify the titles of diversity, equity, inclusion officers, but we will not give up on it. We had a recent air traffic controller supervisor who was leaking the test questions to DEI applicants. This is the type of activity we endorse. We have to be much more radical in our opposition. So when Donald Trump speaks before Congress, we must shout him down. Al Green is an iconic hero. Most of us refuse to censor him. He shook his cane and disrupted Congress. That's good. Jasmine Crockett is the new spokesman of the Democratic Party. And in association with that, also, it's very important for us to use the F word, the SHI blank word, the DICK word. We're going to make videos where we use this profanity. We're going to shout out that in Congress. The point is that to appeal to the lost middle class supporter, we have to sound earthy, and we plan on doing that. And finally, we've got to create chaos. So anything Donald Trump, as I said, anything that Elon Musk does, any cabinet members' initiatives, we have to go hysterical. And the point is this: we prefer slow decline. We understand we had $36 trillion in debt. We understand we were running $1 trillion trade deficit. We understand our military was shrinking. We understand that we were investing over $1 trillion in a commissar like DEI. I could go on. But that was a slow decline. It wasn't controversial. With the open border, yes, it was open, but there was no hysteria. We just let in 12 million people illegally. We even flew them in at night, so it wouldn't bother you. So the point is, slow decline, quiet, calm, is much preferable to loud restoration. Why cause all this problems? We were declining very slowly. We could have gone on like this for 20 years. But why did we have to suddenly think that we needed to stop and to arrest the decline? That's pretty much it. A 10-point agenda by the Democratic Party. Thank you very much. This is Victor David Henson for the Daily Signal.
Woo-hoo-hoo! They are being exposed, ladies and
Thank you
gentlemen.
for watching today's podcast. And for more news like that, subscribe to the Daily Signal.
Ladies and gentlemen, if this information doesn't make sense to you, right here, and you are not able to open up your mind and start looking not in the box, but outside the box, you will figure out that Democratic Party always go back to the Communist Manifest. Yes. And now, with the help of the Muslims who hates our country, because the whole idea of Muslim being in America is to occupy, not to assimilate, to impose Sharia law, to hate America. When you see the Democratic Party siding with communists, socialists, Muslims, anybody who hates our country, and you cannot see it, I don't know what else can I do to help you out, to open up that mind, to open up your knowledge and start looking Americans' events, situations that are being executed on another different point of view. I believe that a lot of Democrats are still asleep. And they are allowing these white supremacist Democrats, yes, the plantation owners, use the gatekeepers, which are black, like Jasmine Crockett, like Hank Johnson, like all these black representatives and senators in the House. They are using them to keep you in shackles, emotional, mentally, and spiritual shackles. But let me tell you something. In the other hand, the Latino and Hispanic community are growing, are expanding, are getting stronger, are developing businesses. What I notice about the Hispanic community, we don't dwell in the past. We just keep on pressing and moving forward to achieve the American dream, to achieve the freedom and financial freedom, to achieve everything that our countries denied us over there. And we are here, especially those one like me, legally, who came to this country over 30 years legally. I am an American resident, American citizen. Yes, I am an American citizen with a United States passport. Actually, I'm being out of the country like 3 or 4 times using the American passport. We are here to stay. And one of the main goals the people like me have here in United States is to protect freedom, liberty, to protect freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, and overall to protect grievances. Yeah, the right to protest, the right to let the governor or the government, both, that you are not happy with all the activities and decisions they are making. Yes, you are a black Democrat and you don't see this and you continue listen to CNN, the communist network, national network, CNN, and the other outlets that hates our country, you pretty soon gonna find how to be permanently, not temporarily, permanently a slave, mentally, emotionally, financially a slave, where the government is going to give you some crumbles and you will be happy, but you will never get off from that level or from that level of life in the social status. While Hispanics are driven, forgetting about the past, we don't care about that we have a slave. America has black slave. Our countries have black slave, yes, and they are located in the coast of our countries. You go to the coast of Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, Peru, you go all the coast and you're gonna find a lot of blacks there. They were slaves as well, okay? But we don't dwell in the past. This is who we are now, and we keep on pressing and keep on going. We're taking advantage of creating jobs, creating prosperity, while the black community, yes, the black community, are distracted, thinking in their past and dwelling in their past, and not focusing in achieving the next level. Why? Because Democrats play with your feelings. Communist Democrats play with your feelings. You're talking about, because we are slave. You never being a slave. There is no slavery today in America. But if you go to Africa and the Islamic countries, you're going to find a lot of black ladies and black men being a slave. Why you don't complain about them being a slave, but you still thinking about 100 years in the past, you still complaining you being a slave. And you never been in the plantation doing nothing for nobody because you being a free black person, citizen in America. Keep on dwelling on the past while my people are striving and getting and achieving their goal of prosperity, money, financial freedom, and living happily, very happy in the United States of America.
show stays on because of you fools. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues. Oh God, come back home. This crazy world is filled with liars and abusers. We need you now before we're too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now.
I know the truth is hard to swallow, just digest it. Suspected something's going on, but chose to just neglect it. Deflected by some breaking news, or we just accept it. Expecting just to fall in line and follow their perspective. Don't question.
Well, if this
Did you just
doesn't
key a
wake
Tesla
you
the
up,
other day? What? You're on video. Yeah. This is the guy. You just keyed a Tesla. You got a video online. I just saw it. It's all over the fucking face. You have the media. Yes, you did. You keyed a Tesla in a parking lot somewhere around here. What do you got to say about that? I didn't do that.
oh my God, are old men doing teenagers' actions? Oh my God. Oh Jesus Christ. Oh my
Well, you're on video.
God.
I plainly saw you doing it. You pulled up right next to it, and then you keyed it. Oh, shit. You want to bet? Whatever.
That right there was Elon Musk derangement syndrome. Right there. Those are the white supremacist Democrats who doesn't like or doesn't want an African, an legal immigrant being prosperous in this country. But they, the Democratic Party, they say they are for immigrants, but not the legal ones. They want the illegals. Why? Because when you come here illegally, you don't have no money, so you have to pop up a lot of babies, and then those babies in the future wanna be continue voting for Democrats. They are the new slave in America. Yeah, cleaning and doing all the job that a slave used to do back in those times. The Latinos are doing that, and then they have the black slave under the welfare system, keeping them in shackles right there. That's the Democratic Party. This is Josie Cruz Fletcher talking to you from Georgia, specifically Warner Robins. Have a wonderful day and a happy beginning of the week. Today is Monday. Bye.